I want to review some of the FOIL problems that we did last unit as an emphasis for how to deal with signs for the problems we have coming up. When we would FOIL these, x times x gives me an x squared, and what we're going to almost find out now is anytime we see an x squared, plan on probably doing this unfoiling. Probably plan on that it's going to be a trinomial we need to factor. X times 2 gives me a 2x. Negative 4 times x, negative 4x. Negative 4 times 2 is a negative 8. And remember what makes it a negative is a positive times a negative. That's going to be the first thing that we're going to look for in every single one of these problems. That negative sign means I have two different signs in my binomial. When I combine my like terms, x squared, take the sign of the bigger number, negative 2x, that's what's going to tell me between my two constants which one's going to be the sign of that middle number is the larger of those two factors, minus 8x. Don't ever think that just because I have two negatives here, because remember, we're going to be given this, the starter problem. Temptation students see our two negatives. They want to think two negatives. That's not the case. Remember, they have to multiply to be my constant, add to be my middle coefficient. We're going to look at sign. Since it's negative, I know they're going to be different. Since that's negative, that's the sign of the bigger number. Bigger picture, notice negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. Negative 4 plus 2 is negative 2. They add to be that middle coefficient. They multiply to be the constant. Let's look at another example just to illustrate the fundamentals here. X times x, x squared. Again, getting ahead of it. Probably anytime we see an x squared, we're going to be factoring. X times negative 5 is a negative 5x. Negative 3 times x is a negative 3x. Negative 3 times negative 5 is a positive 15. Remember again, because that's a positive, that's because both of those were the same sign. Whether they're both positive or whether they're both negative, that's what that plus can tell. And that again is going to be the first thing we're going to look for is the sign of the constant. Whenever it's plus, they're the same. Whenever it's minus, they're different. Well, when I combine my like terms over here, I end up with an x squared, negative 5x minus 3x. Remember that I ultimately add them together because they're both the same sign, even though they're both negative, and even though it shows subtraction. If I owe $5 and I owe $3, I owe $8 plus 15. Again, with all our problems, we're going to be seeing the fact that when we have a trinomial, students want to go, oh, minus plus, I'm going to put a minus plus. That's not always going to be the case with these. The first thing we look at is the sign of the constant. The only way I get a positive 15 is if those are both the same sign. They can be both positive or they can be both negative. It's that middle sign that's going to tell me, well, they need to add to be a negative. They're both going to be a negative when we see these problems. Those are the signs that tell us everything. The big picture, negative 3 plus negative 5 is negative 8. They add to be that middle coefficient. Negative 3 times negative 5, they multiply to be the constant. That's what's going to be happening in every single one of these problems. But when we see it backwards, those are the fundamentals that we really want to emphasize.